Hi guys, thank you for joining me for this yoga practice today. Today's session will be relatively gentle and we will be focusing on using our eyesight to help keep us balanced and calm. Especially when we're really stressed, we forget the importance of using our eyesight to help us reset and regulate our nervous systems. So if you're feeling quite hyper stressed or you're feeling very tired, this is a wonderful session for you to practice today. So join me on the mat. We will begin our session in a comfortable seated pose, and I'm looking forward to sharing this experience with you today. So we're going to come into a seated position to begin our practice today. So find a comfortable seat. Settle into your posture and keep the eyes open to begin with. Taking a moment to get a sense of the ground underneath you, the points of contact your body has with the earth, and know that we can always come back to this feeling of security from the ground whenever we need it. For our practice today, the ground will hold us the entire time. So we can notice the sensations of the earth. We can also notice the sensations of our bodies in contact with the earth. So whether the earth feels cool or solid, and whether the skin might tingle or pulse. Just take a moment to check in with your breathing. Maybe this is the first time today you've acknowledged your breath without having to try and change it or do anything other than observe it. What does the breath feel like in your body in this moment? And then with our eyes open, we're going to orientate round our room, and I want you just to look around the room, moving the head, moving the eyes, and just looking at the space. Now we know that this is our safe space, right? We know that we're at home probably or practicing somewhere we know. But when we look around, we're constantly, without having to consciously do this, assessing the danger and safety levels in our environment. So actually looking around can be a very calming way of experiencing the space we're in. You know that moment when you think, oh my gosh, I think there's something behind the door. And you know deep down there isn't, but it isn't until you look behind the door and go, yeah, no, I was mistaken, that you calm down. Once you see for yourself that there's nothing behind the door, you feel safe. Even if someone was to tell you, no, there's no one behind the door, sometimes we have to actually see it for ourselves, and that calms down the amygdala, the part of the brain that has the alarm bell, and so we can go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're good. The prefrontal cortex and the amygdala have this really, really powerful connection. They link really strongly. So the prefrontal cortex, right at the front of the brain, which is connected to our here and now sort of experience. And then I want you to look around the room and really see things. Looking at things with a little bit more detail. Now we know we're safe, we can look around and explore colours, shapes. Maybe noticing particular items, the details of them that we haven't maybe noticed when we were looking around. Now we're really seeing with a different lens, a calmer lens, maybe a slower lens. And I want you to pick something in this space that you like looking at. It can be a particular item or a part of an item. It can be a colour. And I want you to gaze at that item and feel the pleasure within your body, the reaction, the response your body has when you look at this item or this area of your room that feels really good to look at. And we're not staring, we're softly gazing. Looking with a gentle awareness. check back in with the breath. As we're looking at this pleasant item, what does the breath do? And then with that pleasant vision, close the eyes if this feels safe. Bring the palms together and rub them really, really, really fast. So you create some friction and some heat between your palms. And when you feel that heat, you can cup the hands over the eyes and let the warmth and the pressure sink into the eyeballs, potentially stimulating our optic nerve. Noticing within this little bit of darkness, maybe still visualizing that pleasant item that we looked in our room at, allowing that imagination of our internal gaze to be ignited. And then keeping the eyes closed, we gently pull the hands away from the eyes, and you might want to massage around the eyes, the eyebrows, even up to the forehead, out to the temples. Have a little explore of what feels nice to touch in this area. Even touching the actual eyelids, the eyelashes softly, exploring what it feels like for your eyes. Noticing how the different colours from the light outside hit the eyelids. And then slowly release the hands away from the face. We'll start by gazing down as we open the eyes and gently lift the eyes back to a more neutral space. And I want you to have a feeling like your eyeballs at the back of the skull, and you can see your entire room, your entire kingdom, and you feel confident, safe and protected in your space today. We're going to start to move the body, and we're going to watch as we move the body. We'll inhale, lift the arms up. And you can watch the arms as they come together, the palms can touch. And then we'll exhale, let the arms come back down again. We can move with our breath if this feels good, or just keep the movement going. Again, we inhale, follow the movement of the arms, watching with your eyes, moving in this space. And as we exhale, we'll let the arms come back down. Watching your body. One more time, we inhale, lift the arms up. As the arms come up, we're going to really reach up to the sky, maybe interlace the fingers, and you can either look up to the hands if it feels okay for your neck, or you can look forward into the distance. We'll twist towards the right side. Maybe the right arm goes behind you, the left hand comes to the thigh, and we're going to gaze all the way behind, looking over our shoulder. Look behind you. As humans, our eyes are at the front of our bodies, so in order to check behind, we have to turn our bodies. So the importance of allowing this movement in our spine for creating that awareness of safety and security, and actually being able to see behind us. What do we notice? We'll come back to the center. Reach the arms up high. Again, you can follow the body with the eyes. When we get to the sky, we'll elevate, maybe reach high, tall, strong, and we'll twist to the left, gazing behind. What's behind you? We won't know unless we look. You can discover all those little things that might be behind you on your shelf, in your room, on the floor. We'll make our way back to the center. We're going to bring the right hand down to the side of the body and lift the left arm up. And I want you to look up to the hand at the sky and then look down to the hand on the floor. Up to the hand in the sky and down to the hand on the floor. One more time, up to the hand in the sky And then reaching the body back up to the center, follow that left hand all the way back down to the floor on the other side. Planting the left hand down, taking the side stretch, and look up to the right hand in the sky. Look down to the hand on the floor, up to the hand in the sky, down to the hand on the floor. One more time, we look up to the hand in the sky, and we lift back up to the center, nice and slowly. And again, just looking around the room, orientate your space. Just checking and looking, exploring. Remember, we can do looking or we can do seeing. And if you ever want to come back to that particular spot in your room that you love looking at, you can come back here at any point and allow that feeling of pleasant sensations when you look at something be felt within your body. We'll make our way onto our hands and knees. If you need to shift any props off to the side for a moment, you can do so. Grounding into the earth and just looking at the body as we come into this position. There's no perfect pose, so no perfect place your body wants to be, but just check, what does it feel like? And we can start to move the body, maybe cat-cows, or just wiggling around and watch with the eyes, the body in the space. You're going to first notice your body moving in the space, feeling connected to this body, the shapes that it makes. Not worrying about the particular shapes, but just exploring how the body moves. And then we can start to look around the room, noticing how we are placed in this space as we move. Noticing the mat or the space around the mat, the amount of space that we have, and our bodies will almost be in our peripheral vision. As we look around, we know our body is here, we know we're present in this space. We can see the body, but we're focusing on our surroundings. Good. Maybe coming into a child pose position if you'd like that. If you feel you want to close down the eyes, you can. Or you can bring fists for your hands or even a pillow and drop your chin in so as you look forward, you can still see. It's often the most vulnerable place to kind of close the eyes. It's not always safe. It doesn't always feel calming to keep the eyes closed. And we can play with how it feels for you today. I do not always like closing my eyes. So listen in with your body. It doesn't make you a better yogi if you sit there meditating with your eyes closed or open. It's how you feel connected to yourself and your environment in that particular moment. Now you might want to take a downward facing dog. So we can also come into a down dog. You can stay in child pose if you prefer. And again, you might want to watch the body and notice your body in the space you're in, or look at your environment around. You can see your body in the space, but you're just assessing the environment around you. Or if you prefer, close the eyes and see the body through a different lens, an internal gaze, feeling the sensations and seeing in a different way. Or you can even visualize your body in this particular position that you've chosen, almost imagining what your body looks like from memory, but also from that beautiful creativity that we all have that fills in the blanks. So whether in child's pose or down dog, we're going to come into a dangle position, walking the feet towards the hands, maybe softening the knees, letting the body just release here for a moment. Maybe the head, yes, yes, no, no. We need our necks in order to rotate our heads around so we can see better. So tension in the neck is going to be present, but we want to release as much tension as possible so we have the best range of motion for the head to move around, to see our environment, to create an awareness of safety. And we'll curl up nice and slowly, steady all the way up through the spine, up to standing on both feet. Now we are running through 2 slow sun salutations today. They will be slow. We're going to do the first 2 rounds with the eyes open and feeling the body and seeing the body. So I'll guide you through. The second 2 rounds, we're going to practice closing the eyes. We're going to practice. And don't worry if you're like, oh my God, I need to open my eyes. At any moment, you can open your eyes. So take a moment to feel the ground settle in and notice your environment. Let's orientate our space. Just look around. We're here in this space, we're looking. And if again you need to look at that particular item that you've chosen that feels really safe, nice and pleasant to look at, you can always gaze at that particular item at any moment. On our inhale, we'll lift the arms up and follow the arms as they come up towards the sky. The palms can connect, maybe gaze up to the hands. We'll take a little back bend. You might have to gaze up towards the ceiling, looking around. And as we exhale, let's fold forward. Looking at your environment as you come back into that forward fold, what can you see? Hands will plant down to the earth. We'll step back with the right leg, nice and slowly, watching where we place our feet and our hands as we drop our right knee down to the floor into a lunge. And look forward or look around. Lunging is a great position for that kind of preparation for movement, for running, fighting, fleeing. Now, if you want to, you can lift the arms up and get an extra stretch here, but try and squeeze the buttocks. So squeezing the muscles of the stress response reaction, thighs, glutes, a little bit core. Really great muscles to switch on. And then if our hands are lifted, we'll bring them back down to the floor. Watch our hands place into the earth. See them. We'll slide the left leg back to join the right and just make your way down onto your belly, nice and slowly. And here we might want to bring those fists underneath the chin so we can look forward. Or we can bring the forehead down and look to the earth, but keep the eyes open. We'll make our way into our back bend of choice. So either a sphinx position, forearms into the floor, squeezing the buttocks and keeping that awareness of the intensity of the back bend suitable for your body. Or we can have the hands gently underneath the shoulders and use the back muscles to elevate up. Try not to force your hands into the floor, but just think about engaging the muscles. And again, looking slightly down to keep the elongation through the back of the neck. Then as we bring the hands underneath the shoulders, we'll push all the way back up, looking at your environment as we make our way either into child pose. You can look forward, or you can look down. Or we can come into downward facing dog, maybe looking at the legs or looking behind the legs. Notice what you see. And then our knees can come back down to the earth if we're in down dog, or shifting into tabletop if we're in child pose. And our right leg will lunge forward, that pouncing pose again, so you can look forward. Maybe if you would like to, reach the arms up. We're going to bring the hands back down to the earth, tuck the left toes, step the feet back to the top of your mat, look at your feet. See your feet, how grounded they are into the earth, the details of your toes. We'll curl up slowly. Watch the body, notice the body as we sweep the arms up to the sky, lift up high, the palms might touch, might look to the hands. We're going to come straight back down as we fold forward again, looking at the environment as we fold in. Look to the floor, look to the feet, the hands. Left leg is going to lunge back. Drop the left knee down, and we can stay with the hands down and look forward, maybe finding a soft gaze on that pleasant item we have in our room. If you want the arms to come up, squeeze the buttocks to support this stretch, a little bit more intense, but might feel really lovely. If the hands are elevated, bring them back down to the earth. And we're going to join right leg to left. Just make your way down onto your belly, either looking forward or looking down. Then either variation of back bend, cobra, keep the chin a little bit tucked, or sphinx. And I quite like in sphinx pose to move the head, look around, even look behind you, at your toes, your feet. Nice position to be able to see your entire environment. Making our way into either child pose or downward facing dog, your choice. Notice what feels right for you, and then watch the body and how it might respond. Maybe noticing differences on one side to the other. We'll come back to tabletop. Left leg's going to lunge forward, moving in slowly, looking forward, or remember you can look around. Try not to do the kind of intense gaze just yet. And then tuck the right toes and step the feet to the top of your mat, folding in. Look at your feet. Really see them. We'll curl up slowly. Lift the arms all the way up, nice and gently. We look around, the palms can connect, hands can draw to the heart center. Back to mountain pose. And then orientate your space again, just look around. Remember, this is a subconscious safety cue. We don't have to go, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. You might want to use that as a verbalization if you're feeling more unsafe or more stressed or anxious. But your brain will do it anyway when we notice there is no danger in our room. We feel calm, relaxed. Now we are going to do the next 2 rounds with the eyes closed. We're going to try. Now if you feel unstable or wobbly, or you think, oh my gosh, I can't do this, guess what? You can always open your eyes. So don't feel like Kate said, close your eyes, you can't open them. Of course you can open your eyes. But have a go at closing and then opening again if you need to, and closing. Let a slight bit of discomfort be present in this practice. It may feel really wonderful to feel your body in a different way, or it may feel quite intimidating. So have a play, have a practice. With the eyes closed, we experience things quite differently. So we're going to go for closed eyes. We're going to try and keep them closed for as long as we can, but knowing we can always open them at any moment. What does it feel like to stand here with the eyes closed? Just take a moment to acknowledge the different feeling of your environment with the eyes closed. It's not good nor bad, it's just different. We have a different sense activating. And remember your imagination and your creativity. You know this room really well. You know your mat. You know your body. So trust all of that knowledge we've absorbed from our environment as we move through our sun salutations. So we'll inhale, lift the arms up. Almost imagine you can see your arms lifting to the sky. As the palms might touch, we take a little back bend. As we exhale, we'll fold forward. Move slowly, seeing your body floating through the sky and feeling that ground underneath you. When your fingers hit the earth, you can still keep the eyes closed. We extend the right leg back into our lunge, drop the right knee down. Now you might feel more secure keeping your hands down because there's less need for balance, but if you want that extra challenge, lift the arms up. Notice the wobbles. Notice how it feels to have the eyes closed here. How does it feel on the nervous system? Are you feeling more stressed, or are you feeling quite calm? The hands can come down to the earth if they're elevated, and we'll make our way onto our bellies, however it works best for your body. We're going to come through our back bend, either cobra or sphinx. Any back bend is welcome. Making our way into down dog or child pose, your choice. Take a pause. We'll step forward with the right leg into the lunge. Now remember, we're still feeling the body. We're visualizing the body here as we move. Arms can stay down or they can lift up. Balance may be compromised with the eyes closed. It's going to be. So we have to have a lot of muscle memory from our cerebellum to know where the body is going to be placed. Hands can come back down to the earth, tuck the back toes, and step the feet back to the top of your mat. Take it slow, folding forward. We'll curl all the way back up, gently. Getting a sense of your environment as the arms come up to the sky, we'll take another little back bend, inhale. And exhale, we fold straight back down. Feel your body, move slowly, visualize your body moving through the air. Hands will come back down to the earth. Left leg's going to lunge back. Drop the left knee down. Hands can stay down or up. If the arms are lifted, just slowly bringing them back down to the floor. And then make your way back onto the belly. Right leg joins the left. We come all the way down onto the earth. See if we can keep the eyes closed. And we're going to come all the way back through that back bend, cobra or sphinx, and push into either down dog or child pose as we exhale. Inhaling, stepping the left leg forward. Low lunge, arms up or down. Remember, your balance is going to be compromised with the eyes closed, but you can always open them if you feel wobbly. Bring the hands back down to the earth. Tuck the back toe. And step, hop, slide that foot towards the left as we fold back in. Inhale to curl all the way back up to standing. Take your time. There's no rush. The arms will sweep up to the sky. Take a little back bend here. Bring the hands together at the heart center and just take a moment with the eyes closed again. Keep them closed in stillness in mountain pose. And then slowly release the arms and open the eyes and orientate your space. Oh, we're back in the room. I'm slightly at a different point on my mat. And we're just looking around again. And that might have felt like a really terrifying experience, or it may have felt wonderful, or maybe impartial. So whatever we experience, it is our experience. So it doesn't matter whether it was good or bad. We're just taking on board what we actually felt as we did that. Good. So we're going to come back to a seated position. Just reset the nervous system a little bit. So if we've been a little lifted, we're going to come back down to a bit of stillness. We are going to come back up to standing. We're going to work with our eye movements. So really important is the movements of the eyes, the muscles that control the eye movements. And we forget that we need to strengthen these muscles like everything else. So much to do, right? But it's going to be a really nice exercise that you can practice either in isolation or you can practice as part of this sort of a session. So I'm going to guide you through a few rounds of eye movements and try as best you can to keep it slow and steady and just notice what happens as the eyes move. So firstly, we're going to look up towards the sky as high as we can without moving our head. So keep the head nice and still. Look to the highest point that you can. And we're going to watch the gaze. So the gaze is going to curve all the way through the air and come down to the lowest point we can look. Keep it as slow as you can. You might notice as we do this, there are little areas where we kind of skip or like blackout spots. This is okay. And we're going to lift the eyes back up again slowly. So think of that curved line as we come all the way back up slowly to look back up to the sky. Try not to move the head. And again, we start to slowly begin to look down. Slowly, we begin to look back up. Take your time. And slowly looking back down. Oh, that one, my eyes rushed. And back to the center. We're going to look over towards the right side with the eyes, as far over as we can see, and then have that curved feeling as we start to look all the way through towards the left side without turning the head. Looking back through all the way round towards the right side. We're scanning our horizon. Over and round towards the left side. Take your time. Over towards the right side. Notice if there's any dips, speeding or slowing areas. Over to the left. Or black spots. Back to the center. We're going to go diagonally up towards the right corner. And gliding slowly down towards the bottom left corner. Up towards the top right. Down towards the bottom left. To the center. Up towards the top left. Down towards the bottom right. Take your time. up towards the top corner, down towards the bottom left corner, back to the center. We're going to make a big circle, so maybe looking up first or down, and go one direction with the eyes. As best you can, move slow. All the way around without moving the head. When you get back to the top, we'll move the other direction. You might feel the eyes aching a little bit here. One more time, left and right, whichever way you've gone is fine. Keep it slow and steady, or notice where you want to rush. Back to the center. Now we're going to do a little figure of 8. So we can start at the top corner, work our way down to the right, through the center and down to the left corner, round the bottom to the right corner, and up and through to the top left corner and back to the sky. This might be quite challenging for your eyes, or actually quite fun. And you can reverse the direction. Notice I've gone quiet through focus, trying to focus on it. Try and go to all the corners. So rather than staying this little bit in the middle, take it all the way out and around. And then coming back to the center, just close the eyes for a moment, give them a little mini rest. Well done. Gently open the eyes again. We're going to bring the finger or thumb in front of the face and then just look at your finger. So close-up vision. Now you notice your background is a little bit kind of blurred. That's great. Now we're going to then look to the background and let the finger go blurry. Look to the finger, the background goes blurry. Look to the background, finger goes blurry. And we're just going to flip between these two. Finger, background, finger, background, finger, background. 2 more. Finger, background, finger, background. Close the eyes, rub the hands together, and then give them a little bit of warmth from your palms. Maybe massage the eyes slightly. Really nice. The eyes might feel a little tired, or they've had a little workout. This is good. This is great for our eyes. Lovely. Then we're going to come back up to standing, so you can move your props off to the side. Finding a nice, strong mountain pose position. So your feet might want to be a little bit wider than perhaps underneath the hips to create that stability. And we're going to take a soft gaze at something in front of us. So something either relatively at eye height, or keep the head lifted, but you can slightly look down towards the floor. Pick something easy to notice. Now, as you're with the nice wide base, mountain pose, Tadasana, we probably feel quite stable. Now, if you need to have a wall close by to you or a chair or something, you can have that, because we're going to take a little bit of a balance. So we're going to bring one foot in slightly, and we're going to bring the weight into that foot. Now, you can just lift the other leg up if that feels good, and keep gazing at that one thing in front of you. You can take it into tree, so the foot can go into the ankle, calf, or inner thigh, and the arms can go where you feel a little bit more stable. And we're gazing at that one point softly. So try not to do a really intense stare. We're going to do that in a moment, see how that makes us feel. Now, once we've found that stability, notice if you're really wobbly anyway, that's absolutely fine. But try and use the eyesight to help with the balance here. Because then we're going to move the head around and move the eyes. So you're allowing the vestibular system, that inner ear balance, to be slightly distorted to help us practice how to balance using our eyesight, moving our heads around. And if you fall out of this pose, we can just take a moment, let the brain recalibrate and come back in. Falling is not failing, it's us learning. Always think about a child. How many times a child falls before they learn to walk? lots. Good, now if you feel quite secure here, close your eyes. Now you can look at your point, find that focus again, and then close your eyes and see if you can still visualize it. This can help with the focus, it can help with the balance, or not. And if you really want a challenge, keep the eyes closed and move the head around. Be steady. You've always got the option to open your eyes at any moment. Whoa, it's really challenging, and it's challenging for a reason. We're learning something new. Good, opening the eyes, come back to that one spot. And then release the leg, just shake out the other leg. Give them a shake. Now we'll step the right foot to the top of the mat. Left foot's going to go back, and we're going to come through our warrior two. It can be a soft warrior two, it doesn't have to be a strong one. And I want you to gaze at the right middle finger. This is traditional yoga staring moment. So the drishti, the gaze point, is the right middle finger. And then I want you to gaze into the distance. Back to the right middle finger and into the distance. The finger, the distance. The finger, the distance. Now picking something you can gaze at in the distance and move around. Keeping that gaze on that one thing you've noticed in the distance. So you're moving your body, but you're not letting your gaze leave that point. You're watching it. This is kind of that stalker-like stare, like a leopard, watching its prey, but we're moving. And then let the gaze move off that point and just notice what happens as you move around. You move your eyes around. You might notice you keep getting drawn back to that one point. What feels more safe? Good. Lovely. Coming back to the top of your mat into a nice lunge, we're going to reach the arms up. And then we're going to lean forward. Maybe the arms come down. Maybe you gaze at that point really, really strongly. Really, really gaze at that one point. Really, really super strong. Gaze, gaze, gaze. And then we'll step back to the top of the mat and orientate our space. Soft gaze. Just noticing how gazing actually affects how you feel in your body. When I gaze really strongly, my heart rate goes up. It's like stress, right? And then we orientate and we calm down the nervous system. It's okay. Okay, we're going to come back to that big mountain pose position. So legs can go wider. Finding that soft gaze on that one point in front that just helps with the balance. And just notice how it feels to gaze softly at something. Just looking at its nice colours and shapes. Then we'll bring the weight into the other leg, working on balancing. Now the leg that's elevated can either stay lifted here or it can come into our tree pose. Let it be gentle. Only place I don't really want you to place the foot is the knee, just because of damaging the ligaments of the knee over time. I'm not going to really damage much from placing it here for now, but over time, I want to keep it out of the knee area. Now, if you feel quite secure, quite balanced, me not so much on this foot apparently, maybe start to look around the room, moving the head, let the head go with you. Just having a little play, looking around, exploring. How does this affect the balance? What happens to your body? If you fall out, take a moment to recalibrate and come back in. Falling is learning. We're learning how to look around our space and staying stable. Now, if you feel quite comfortable, come back to that one point, maybe close the eyes. You can visualize that point you gazed at in your mind's eye, so using that creativity. And then perhaps, keeping the eyes closed, if you fancy it, look around by moving the head with the eyes closed. This is really hard, so move your head slowly. Notice how the proprioceptors are having to really switch on in the supporting leg. So knowing where to place your body. Good, one more breath. And then open the eyes, release, shake out the legs. The legs can get a little bit tired. Good, left foot's going to come to the top of the mat, right leg back, and we're going to come into a gentle warrior two. It doesn't have to be strong. And we're going to gaze to the left middle finger. Then gaze to the background. The left middle finger, the background. Middle finger, the background. Middle finger, and the background. Find one point in the background you want to gaze at and move. Not leaving that gaze point with your eyes as you move your body around. So it's like we're watching, getting ready to pounce. Notice how this affects your body. What happens internally as you're gazing quite strongly? And then release the point and look around. What changes? Do we feel less safe, more safe? Do we feel more grounded, less grounded? Are we catching, going back to that one point over and over again? Or are our eyes quite comfortable in our space to just look at other things? Okay, we'll turn to the top of the mat into that lunge. Arms can come up. They can stay here, or you might want to bring the arms down and lean forward and really gaze at that one point. Really give it that focus, full focus, staring. And then step to the top of your mat, orientate your space. Release, let it go. Good. Let's notice how the nervous system may have lifted. We're going to bring it back down. So just bringing in a little bit of activation of the nervous system to help us build a little bit of tolerance with things that might stress us out a little bit. It's like, when you're watching a movie, a scary movie. I do not like scary movies at all. And I'm always like, oh, I can't watch, and hide behind my eyes. It's like sometimes that eyesight we have to switch off. That's like our fear response, hide. Whereas actually others can be like, yeah, I want to know more. So just learning about our own stress responses and see we can test that a little bit. Good. Now we're going to take our bolster. So we want to come into a child pose position that feels quite internal, going inwards. So you can have your bolster in between your legs, or I actually quite like bringing the knees together and having the bolster forward. So depending on what feels best for you, as we curl in, maybe the head can come towards the bolster or the pillow. And I like to wrap my hands around the skull, around the head. It can feel quite nice. Holding the head. Curling in. So using a little bit of sense of touch here to feel a little bit safer in our environment. And you can keep your eyes open. You do not have to close your eyes here. We're turning inward physically. Babies learn kind of fetal poses as a part of the stress response, as a protective thing to support the protection of the vital organs of the belly. Whereas babies, when they're first born, they're just lying on their backs. When they're scared, they just kind of move their arms and legs around frantically without knowing how to protect themselves. They have to learn it. They learn how to roll onto the side and tuck in. Generally speaking, this tucked in position is a safe place for us to be. But we may need to keep the eyes open. We might start to feel warm, safe and comfortable that we then can close the eyes. And with the hands wrapped around the skull, you may start to feel the movement of the skull, like it's breathing. Everything begins to soften inwards and relax. Check back in with your breathing. What's the breath doing? Notice how you're feeling. So the eyes are open. How is the gaze? Is it soft? Is it focused? Is it blurry? If the eyes are closed,
How does it feel to have the eyes closed? Comfortable? Then gently lifting the head, I'm going to turn our pillow or bolster lengthways across the mat, or widthways actually I should say. And we're going to come into our nice Sphinx position. So the forearms are going to come over the mat, over the bolster, and the chest can rest onto, like the rib cage really can rest here onto our support. So we have little effort from the hands, the arms. We're supported by the pillow quite nicely. And then here we can again just look around the room. Take a moment to take in our environment softly. I always think of this position like, you know, when you're on the beach and you want to tan your back and you roll over and you're just looking around and it's comfortable and you're just taking in your environment. We're also getting that wonderful stretch to the front line of the body, so stretching out the vulnerable organs of our front line. But we're protected by the ground underneath us, so it feels quite nice to come into this position as opposed to coming onto the back in a supported fish or a supported bridge pose, which can feel very exposing for our bodies when we're on our backs. It can feel wonderful as well, but this is a much nicer, safer way to then be able to move your head around, to orientate your space, to still get that extension through the back line of your body, but be able to see and feel. And if you then feel really safe, really comfortable, you may want to just close the eyes. And that visual channel that we're observing through the body, we can see things, we can feel things. Know that if you always need that gazing at something in your room that was pleasant to look at, it's always there. You can always open your eyes. I used to think that when people opened their eyes, they weren't relaxed. They were stressed somehow. But as I've learned more, actually opening the eyes can make us feel calm, calmer, connected to our environment. It's not that closing the eyes feels necessarily dangerous, but it might feel nicer to have the experience of our environment and help calm our nervous systems down, as opposed to always closing the eyes. Now, very gently, we're making our way out of our Sphinx position, and we're going to come onto the back into our Shavasana for a little meditation. Now, if you want to do this seated, you can, but get comfortable, get warm, get as safe and as cozy as you possibly can. I'm going to lie down onto the earth or sit where we feel supported. Now again, you can keep your eyes open. You do not have to close your eyes, or we can slowly drop the gaze, maybe allowing the eyes to close organically. Take a moment to feel the ground, that wonderful earth that's been holding us our entire practice. It's been here the entire time. So take a moment to feel into it. Let your body begin to soften into the floor. Letting go. And we might not be able to let go of all the parts of the body, but what can we begin to soften? Maybe check back in with your breathing. You don't need to change the breath, but just notice how it feels within your body, where it's felt. Is it smooth and slow? Is it erratic? or fast. We're noticing. Now we're going to use the mind's eye, and we can be as creative, imaginative as we want with our mind's eye. Visualize a moment, a memory, a place, an item, something that makes you feel comfortable, maybe safe, maybe pleasant. And whatever it is we're visualizing, allow the mind to really create as much detail as possible. Something that makes you feel a little bit more joyful, calm, connected. And when we've brought this memory, thought, place, person into our mind, whatever it is we're using, where can we feel that within our bodies? What is the physical response to this pleasant, comfortable mental experience? Where do we feel that sense of calm within our own bodies from bringing this particular joyful thought to our minds? And just stay with that feeling in the body. We can always keep going back to the mental image, but trying to bring it into the body. We can live a lot in our heads and spend very little time in our bodies. Trying to connect the two together. When our mind is safe, our body can feel it. And then notice if there's a niggle, a discomfort, a slight agitation that might keep coming in. It's okay if there isn't. Or if there's something that you want to focus on that may feel a little bit, tiny bit uncomfortable. Where is that within our bodies? It might be a thought, a feeling. What's the experience of going to that little bit of discomfort? What happens physically as we allow that discomfort to be absorbed into the body? Do you tense up? Do you notice a change? Are emotions starting to change? And then come back to the pleasant again. You can either come back to the image of the memory, the thought, the feeling, or come back to the physical place where we felt that comfort and see if it's still there. Can we allow that calm feeling to wash through the entire body? Can we feel it vibrate through our entire being? If so, allow this to do so. And then allow your mind to rest, allow your body to soften. We will practice a little bit of stillness, but always know we can come back to that safe image in our minds, or the safe place that it sits in our bodies, knowing that if we need to open our eyes at any moment, we can do so if they're closed. Sitting with the silence for a few minutes, allowing this calm experience to shimmy through your body, relaxing your nervous system. And then very slowly, come back to the breath. The breath that's been here the entire time. How does it feel now? Where is it experienced? Coming back to the physical body, gently nestled into the earth. Can we pay attention to the points of contact your body has with the ground? Let's maybe start to move the body slowly, just breaking a bit of that stillness, and just take your time. You may want to open the eyes and revisit the space you're in, looking around, maybe stretching. Coming back to orientate your space on the ground, maybe rocking from side to side. We can roll all the way over to one side and pause here for a moment. Gently making our way up to seated. And for one last time, just looking around your room, looking behind you, just checking the space you're in. And then coming back to seeing things, so slowing that down. Perhaps noticing something that you would like to look at. It can be different from the first thing you picked, or it might be the same. How does it feel to stare at this pleasant item in your room? How does your body respond to that? And if you feel comfortable to close the eyes and keep an image of that pleasant item in the room in your mind's eye. Let's draw the hands together at the heart center. Maybe bowing your head forward, eyes can be open or closed, and be thankful for our vision. Our vision that keeps us safe, alert, that helps us to explore. Our internal creativity as well as our external ability to observe. Namaste. Well done.